to another eDesign Codemakers tutorial for game design. In this video, we're going to talk more about some of the advanced concepts of the Unity game engine. Let's get started. Now we left off spawning some objects for Earl to jump over, except Earl can't jump yet. Well, actually he can. But what we need to do is check the code to make sure we've done everything right. Let's open up our player controller. In your game, it actually may be called Earl Controller, because in previous tutorials, that's what we had. But I created a player controller for this demonstration because if Earl isn't going to be our main player and we wanted someone else in there, say Beaker, Beaker can do the same things as Earl can do. Notice how we still have the same libraries as before, and not much has changed with our start code, except now Earl's running. What we need to change is we need to make sure that Earl can jump. In order for Earl to be able to jump, we need to tap into the input part of the Unity game engine. You'll notice within this code that I've utilized the input get key down so that when I press something, which is in this circumstance the space key, something happens. I've added this line of code here to do a logical check to make sure Earl isn't already jumping, because if Earl's already jumping, we don't want him to jump again. The neat thing about this is if you'll notice, I'm not talking about transforms. I'm talking about a rigid body. What is a rigid body? That's a great question. Let's go back to the Unity console. If we take a look at Earl, you'll notice that he now has a component called a rigid body. A rigid body is just a physics component. What it is it tries to tell us that within our game, this particular object should operate like it is in the real world, or in certain circumstances we can change that. But it means it's actually a something. Rigid bodies are really cool because what we can do is we can add velocities, we can change gravities, we can adjust things in order to make them feel a little more like the real world. Even though it's just a game, that's kind of nice because it really helps us visualize what's happening. So when I flip back to our code, since you know more about rigid bodies, what we've done is we've checked the velocity. Is this rigid body actually moving? Well, it's not moving, so that's okay. Now, if our rigid body isn't moving, we want to add a force to it. So let's add a force to it. Now, do we want the force to be forward? No, we want the force just to be going straight up. So we don't change anything in the X direction, we only look at the Y direction. So when we go back to our Unity window, and if I hit play, what happens is as everything is updating, if I hit the space bar, Earl actually jumps in the air because we've added force underneath of him. Look at that guy go. He can avoid any picture he wants. Uh-oh, garbage can. Can't quite make it out. That's okay though. We'll see if we can get Earl to do some other fancy things and maybe take a look at some of the final code pieces within our next video. Thank you so much for watching our eDesign Codemaker tutorials for game design.